those of you that know me and know Chuck, you probably saw Chuck a lot more at our office because he was usually the one in the room working with people all day long. I was the one in the background negotiating contracts back when we did that. And because, you know, in commercials, we don't get to negotiate contracts too much anymore because if you get a union commercial, we're really excited, right? That's another whole subject. But we're all about trying to get work back through the union. And yeah, right? It's an uphill battle, but I think we're going to do it. I'm convinced that we are going to.
I have no doubt that trained, dedicated professionals who put their life into something like this are going to pull the majority of the work back, because it's not just a look in a numbers game. You got to know what to do when the camera's on you, and that's hard, as you guys know. And so I think it'll come. I think with hard work and this kind of thing, it'll come back because you'll show them. I really believe that.
Yes. So. We're probably going to stand a lot if that's okay. I hope when you're
pace
taping.
And swear.
Chuck pulls his hair and I put my glasses off and on and put my hair in a ponytail up and then down. So now you'll know when I get to work, my hair goes up. It'll look real short. Just a little bit about us. Joyce went on about our class, and this is not at all a commercial about our class. But what happened to us was a couple of years ago, we started working with a group of actors, and they came and they stayed, and we did a lot, which was great.
Who knew?
Yeah, right. Well, we had something to tell them, and so we started really thinking about, you know, what could we do as we went on. We did a bunch of plays. They won encore award festivals. We did other plays. They won other encore award festivals. Like, oh, okay, well, we're doing plays, but a lot of the actors came to us and said, but we need stuff for our reels. We need stuff for our reels, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't. Not to bash anything, places where you can go and make content for your reels, but I want you to have your voice out there. I want to hear what you have to say as an actor, not have somebody write you a commercial that we can tape and charge you $500 or $800 or whatever it is, and then now you've got something for your reel. So we started to talk to our actors and say, what do you guys think about this? Do you want to do something like this? And they were like, yeah. So we told them that
we started shooting. They would write like little 1 to 2, 3-page things sometimes, and we'll
5
get
or
into
6
that.
or 15 pages.
But it was just a scene, right? It was just a little thing for real. And all we said, it has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Don't just give me a vague scene, because frankly, I'd rather watch a short film than watch a reel. Sorry, I'd rather watch a short film because I could see things happen. And so many times, casting-wise, we watch a reel, and that's the best 2 seconds, but I don't get it. And face it, unless you're bringing money to the project, they cut as much of you out and go back to who's bringing in the money to the project, so you don't get a whole lot. So they started to write these things, and we said, okay, we'll shoot them.
And we also decided that a lot of us get pegged in one category, right? And you're like, but I'm so much more than just that. I don't want to just play that all the time. So it actually started with one particular woman named Kat, and she's works a lot. She does a lot of Scandal, and she does a lot of Shonda Rhimes stuff, and she's really, really good, a really strong dramatic actress. She's also one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life, and I've met a lot of great people, considering what I do. And so she was just amazing, and I was like, you need comedy. She goes, I never go out for comedy, I never get cast for comedy. I'm like, that is just absurd. So I said, you got to write some comedy stuff, and that's kind of what happened. We started to talk to everybody. Well, what do you want to go out for that you don't get seen for? You know, what do you want to go out for that nobody ever sees you, but that's really the role you want to play? Because personally, I'm against the whole branding thing, this whole branding trend that started, because that's my job. Yeah. You know, that's what put me out of work. No, but seriously.
No, really.
Actually.
I mean, it's just a job security. Well, I mean, you're the best butler, and then, well, that's a really bad example because you can't age out of being a butler, but you're the best,
dad.
Mom,
Your
dad.
Dad
is a good one. Young dad is a good one. And then you start to age out of that, and then besides, it gets boring. Doesn't it? I mean, how many young dads, how many business people, how many CEOs, how many of the same type can you go out for and keep it interesting? Well, that's a challenge, but it got boring for me. So we decided
Chuck is also a member of SAG, has been for 30 years. So
yeah.
I'm not, but
Very
he is.
passionate member of SAG.
Yeah. So anyhow, so that's really how it started. So basically, and this is what happened. So then we started making these things, and it was just for our reels. We're just doing them. It's just for our reels. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything at all. We're just doing them for our reels. And all of a sudden, people are like, yeah, but this looks really good. It looks better than all the student films on my stuff and some other paying stuff. I want to put it on my reel. I'm like, So they started to use it for their reels. And they started using it for their reels. And then they said, one person said, well, I want to put it in a film festival. And we're like,
Okay.
do what you want. It's your film.
Yep.
And so they started putting it in film festivals. And now out of the 5 or so that we've actually released, they've been in over a dozen film festivals, and they're just like picking up steam and starting to go out. So then we're like, oh God, wait, hold on. We got to get them all on the SAG contract. We're like, how are we going to do that? So
Because now the intention changes. It's now we're just putting something that's on your reel and on your website and that kind of thing you're going to show. No, now it is you're going to make something for not distribution, for exhibition.
yeah, so but the SBA contract came out because I was behind. I've actually been talking to SAG for several years about this. Let's get this. Let's get a contract, because musicians do this all the time. They get together, they jam, they create something, and now they've got a thing. But with actors, it was very hard for a while because it was hard to get together and to have anything that could actually be under a contract, because the contracts were hard with that. So I'm not going to go into this whole lot, but now the SPA contract is there, and it's a fabulous contract, and I'm thrilled that we have it, and thrilled that we can do all of this stuff. And so now all of our movies we're just starting them, but they're going under all the contracts, and we're thrilled. The only thing that you'd need to know, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, is that you have to have workers' comp, which can get costly. So anyhow, we'll talk about that in a minute.
That's it. That's who we are and how we got into this. And it's addicting. We've done over 60 plays. Oh, well over 60 plays, maybe 70 plays.
now,
and then all of these things that were just reels are now with their stories. So there's 23 of them. And I think you'll find it's addicting.
Yeah.
It's addicting.
It is.
And you get to work because you love to work on what you want to work on. And then if somebody says, yes, I need a lawyer. Okay, I'll do that. But in the meantime, you've got something to say. See? Don't get me started. And that's why we got into this business. I think so. I don't think we got into this business to get into a treadmill where you just simply walk through the drug. Now you play Juliet, and then you end up playing the nurse, and then you're out of the picture. I think you got into this to have something to say. Something moved you. Somebody moved you.
Yes, passion. And that's important, and that's what keeps you young. Yes, passion, fun, all this stuff that keeps it, why we got in the business in the first place. I started as an actress and a dancer years ago. I found casting. I love casting. I adore doing what I do, and I have loved it ever since I have been in it. But it's slowed down for me commercially. So now I'm directing and producing and loving that part of it, and loving taking people through this process of how do you take your voice, put it on screen. So we're not going to talk about the class as much as I want to talk to you about how do you do that? How do you do that now? Yeah. And what do you do? What do you do to start? And the first thing I'm going to say is you don't need to spend a lot of money. It doesn't cost anything. Every single film that we've made thus far has been, everybody's working for free, deferred, and the most expensive film we've got that just won Best Film at the Eurasian Film Festival cost $500.
I know. So what we did,
and it's beautiful.
The first film that we ever did was back in 99, 2000, something like that. It was called Sugar, because I have an issue with eating. And so
Sugar
it was
especially.
about and yes, really. So we did this thing about somebody who's obsessive about food. Shot it on 16, went through SAG, did the whole thing, cost, at that point it was cheap. It was $8,000 to do the film. Think about that. It's $8,000. That's a lot of money. But it was the 90s and we were all working. So after that, we did another thing called Stage 5. Now, the first one was on
16 millimeter
film, and we had all the equipment, and it was.
And we hired directors from a prestigious film school that didn't know what they were doing, and all of a sudden we thought,
We had to learn.
We have to learn. We have to salvage our $8,000 that friends and family gave us money to, produce, and we have to salvage this. So that's when we very first started to learn. Chuck had to learn really quickly how to edit, because our guy sent our film festival to Sundance with edit code on the bottom, and assorted
the sound was off. Everything was
stupid
bad
things.
with it. So I had to call a professional editor and pay him and said, okay, teach me. And he did. He was great. The second thing we did was called Stage 5, and we shot it on the home DSLR, the one I take pictures of my kids with.
Yeah.
It had a little video capacity.
We had a
It
little
kept overheating because
Yeah.
it wasn't meant to do this. And then we used, for the sound, this is a beautiful Sennheiser, but we used a blue snowball, which if anybody knows what that is, it's a $65 microphone that you buy
For
at Guitar
voiceovers and
Center,
podcasts
and it
and
sits
stuff.
there, and we tied it to a mic stand to use as a boom pole and leaned in. That's how. So and now
And our
that's
two sons, one was boom and one ran camera.
And the point of that is not just to brag about that kind of stuff, but now it's in a festival, so you don't have to spend $8,000. You have to do it, and we'll get into that, because you just have to start. You just have to do it.
Yeah, we spent $300 on our two actors. That was what we
they got paid. And that's as it should be. And I think we bought food, and cooked them lunch and stuff like that, and they were great. And they just got notified that they're going to the Golden State Film Festival at the Man's Chinese Theater, which is like cool, right? That's where Clark Gable went, and everybody else, and us. So anyway, that's just to show you it doesn't have to say about the cost of it.
So yeah, and so that's what we. One of the things I want to first say is, I know everybody's like, oh yeah, we shoot it on the phone, but there are festivals that are just for things shot on iPhones. I mean, there's whole festivals, and there's more than one of them, around there. I know, isn't that great? And there's anything. I mean, so basically, what I really want to say is, you just have to do it. And I know that sounds easy to say, but that's exactly what you have to do. You have to just say, I have a story that I want to tell, and it has to have a beginning and a middle and an end. So I want you to kind of challenge yourself to say, what story can I tell real quick? I want to tell the story of what happens in my morning. How simple is that? I'm going to get up, I'm going to make breakfast, I'm going to get dressed, and I'm going to walk out the front door. Well, that's the story. And that's all you have to do, just to make it, just to try it.
Get over the fear of having to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
We
Because
watched.
you're not going to do it perfectly at all.
The screeners have been amazing this year. I mean, over and above all. I mean, the performances, the filmmaking. Oh, I can't do that. We don't have to do that. You don't have to be perfect. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Do it, and if it stinks, nobody ever has to see it. You didn't
keep it
spend
well
any money on
hidden.
it. You just hit delete or don't, or study it and find out what was wrong. And then let somebody else see it later, the second go through. And then the third go through. I was listening to Martin Scorsese's editor. No less than 12 completely cut versions of any one film that he's ever done before he releases. 12. For those people who know how to edit, holy mackerel, that's a Herculean and ridiculously long feat to do 12 feature-length films to pick one. So, no, you don't have to get it right. You can get it wrong, and I encourage you to get it wrong, because nothing bad's going to happen, ever. Unless, of course, you show it and it's really embarrassing and it stinks and it's on YouTube forever. But don't do that.
No
Don't
need to
do
do
that.
that to yourself. Do you want to go back to that?
Well, I was just going to say that there's reasons to do this. I know this may sound like a daunting thing and a lot of work to do, but that's why we got into this, from a casting point of view. And we hear this from agents all the time.
Bless you.
God bless you. Managers will often say, I need a career to push. Agents will say, I need something to sell.
You haven't done anything in so long. You haven't done, right? We all, unfortunately, we hear that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, here's your chance.
You give them something.
You give them something.
It doesn't have to be long either. It could be 1 to 3 minutes. It could be 30 seconds. It could be whatever it is.
And while you're waiting for the work to come in to you, you can make your own work. And this is really what we're talking about. It's really, and I'm talking about simple. And what it does is it builds it's going to start to build your confidence again. And it's going to give you the impetus to say, to get up in the morning. I have this, I want to do this. I'm going to do this today. I want to get up and I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, these people that I just counted and called in as my group, you're my group. Now, okay, we're all going to make a film together because we all have a passion and we all have stories we want to tell. So, but I can't let you guys down because I committed to you. So I got to get up to do my part of this story. Okay, one of the most important things I think early on is to find a tribe. Find a group of like-minded people. Find a group of people that want to work the way you want to work.
That's a huge point. Okay, so we've done Equity Waiver Theater, right? Oh yeah, that was enthusiastic. And you know, sometimes you hit a perfect cast, and sometimes you hit people who won't even show up or know their lines or put anything into it. You don't get to do that anymore. You get to hang out and cultivate a tribe of people who are like-minded artists who don't think maybe the hero doesn't die in the end, or some people think maybe the hero does die in the end, but you're all on the same page. What is funny? What is interesting? What is important? That's huge.
What's the story that you want to tell? And all of my group right here, we're all going to have a different story we want to tell. So we're all going to take turns. And in the meantime, while we're doing it, we're all going to learn everything about every part of the business. And that's really what some of our people have found that was so valuable to them, was that now they understand why a boom has to be held a certain way, because they've heard what happens when it's not held the right way. You know, now you understand why somebody on continuity is extraordinarily important, because we all see those errors, you know, and sometimes they slide by, they still do. But we find that now once you've done it, once you've been the person that's in charge of that, you know why it's so important, and your respect for everybody on the team goes up, and your respect for everybody in the professional world goes up, because you understand why it's so important. If you've ever edited anything, you understand why it's so important that an actor can hit his exact same mark every single time and do the exact same movements and facial things every single time.
And in the
because when we're doing it on stage, or we're doing it just in a class, it doesn't matter. But when you're doing it on film and you need to cut it, and we lose a whole scene because you didn't do the same thing twice.
We lose your best take because you did something you can't cut. It's like, dang.
Yeah.
And you learn this.
So,
and you learn, this is what we learned. You stop being afraid of what you don't know. You stop putting people on a pedestal because you know their job, and now you respect their job, and you respect your job, because I'm here to tell you, after 30 years of casting, 20 years of being on, in front of camera, that makes me a million years old.
And still cute.
Aww.
Isn't he cute? I think he's cute. 33 years later? 33.
Yeah, 33.
Now we're both old.
And there we go. I have no idea what I was going to say with that.
Sorry.
But the point is, I was going toward this, is that the more respect you have for it, the more you can work with people, the less you put them on a pedestal, the less afraid you are to audition with them, the less personally you take it because you didn't get the role. Yeah. This business isn't a talent contest. You know that by now. It's a business of building a product that can be sold worldwide and protecting the investors' rights. And you understand that, and so you'll be auditioning more fearlessly. And we know from auditioning, half of our job is getting you comfortable in the room. It's just getting you to calm the heck down and relax, and let's create for 5 minutes, and then you can go on your way. And so if you're really comfortable with that, if that's you're just going to audition better. And you're going to tell people how to see you, because you can have 4 or 5 different shorts in a year going up. Show me you as this, you as that. It's really important. And here's the coolest thing we're just alluding to, is your voice. I don't mean your singing voice. I mean your voice as an artist. What do you got? What are you concerned about? That distinguishes you. My favorite example of this is Get Out. The movie Get Out. It's a horror film with a point of view, and that distinguished everybody in the cast. I wouldn't normally cast Bradley Whitford in a role like that, but he showed me, right?
That you should.
And then I can show a director and a producer that he can do that. Of course, I think he can do anything, but you get the idea. Well, you're not a name, and then because we hear this a lot. Well, I'm a name. I have a name. Yeah, I know, but we need a name that will calm the investors down, that they say, okay, I can distribute this. But you can now start to do that because we all have cell phones. And if you have Instagram and Facebook on your cell phone, you can grow an audience. And I hate the fact that casting is sometimes required to ask you how many followers you have. But that's just a growing thing in business.
Hopefully it'll phase out. But right now it is a thing. So if you don't have an Instagram account, get one. Sorry. It's, I was totally against it. I mean, for years, I was totally against it. I was like, I'm not going to do this. This is ridiculous. I don't know why anybody needs to see what my family's doing and blah, 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 blah. Well, my business account doesn't really talk about that. It talks about what we're doing in the business. And we went from in June, August, September, sometime earlier last year, we had 1,400 followers. And I'd been on about 2 or 3 years. And we did some work on our Instagram, and we now have almost 17,000 in less than 5 months of followers. The only reason that's important is because there are jobs and people that are saying, how many followers do you have? Even in your age range. It's not just for the younger people, but it's how many followers you have. You know why? It's a false sense of advertising, but they think because you have this many followers, they're going to watch whatever commercial you're in or whatever TV show you're on or blah, 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 blah.
Bring somebody to watch something at 8 o'clock on CBS or NBC or whatever.
I think my next big money thing is going to be able to teach tell those people, teach them how to act. They got good followers. Now I want to teach them how to act. Is that a $1 million idea? I think so. But anyhow, so I kind of digress on that. I'm sorry. I do that sometimes.
You're okay. So with that, it'll keep you. Look, our son is a computer scientist, basically, who shoots brilliant, and he shoots most of our videos, a lot of our videos. He knows how to work computers, and I don't get this whole digital thing. But if I don't get it, if I don't get technology, I get left behind. So the idea of, that's another generation, or we don't have to understand that, it's not true. It's not hard. It just requires, it's a different language. Is it too old? Is it too late for you to learn Italian? No, especially no. So you can learn how to speak computer and how to speak internet and get your message out and get people to know who you are, but that means you have to have a message. You have to have something to say. So step 1, find out who you are. What are you passionate about? What do you want to say? What's funny to you? What's important to you? Step 2, find your tribe. You don't want to sit there arguing with people who have different points of view. I don't want to shoot it like this. I don't want to do this. Everybody likes the same stuff and is telling the same story. Okay?
And nobody in our group ever would have thought they would have been learning how to design sound or handle a boom or to pull focus or to set up shots, or nobody in our group thought it. There was a group of actors. We're like, I want to be in films. Like, yeah, but they learned how to make films, and all of a sudden everything about their confidence rate went up. Everything about what they're doing went up because they are so excited. They're so on fire with what they're doing that is lighting them up. And you know how when people are excited about what they're doing, all of a sudden you're drawn to them because, well, they must be doing something fun because they're all excited. And that's really what happens. So just when you start to think about this and go, oh my gosh, there's so much, it's overwhelming. It's really not. Pull out your iPhone, do a video, shoot the video, like I said, of getting ready in the morning.
This.
Yeah. Just of getting ready in the morning, just simple like as that. And then put it on if you have a Mac, use iMovie. And if you don't know how to use it, go to YouTube and learn how to use YouTube, because YouTube is your friend for finding out how to learn how to do anything. I mean, anything.
I learned how to change a toilet.
Yes, we did.
Saved a fortune.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, when you learn that, then you can learn he also learned how to edit. He learned how to do special effects. He learned how to do a whole bunch of stuff just by watching YouTube videos. There's a thing called Film Riot where you can learn a lot of really good stuff from the guys that do it. And my son knows their names of them, but we don't. But we watch their videos, and it does help us learn a whole bunch of stuff. So if you want to learn anything about filmmaking, Film Riot is a really good place to go. There's other ones. That's just the one that we know. But I would also say just YouTube is one of the best places to go.
It'll make you less afraid because it'll explain things to you. But you don't have to know special effects. And if you watch classic films, a lot of it's told in the master. Sometimes we go to it, right? You watch Hitchcock. Most of it's done in a master. So then it comes down to you doing what you do. All you're doing is acting, telling a story, photographing it, and then you can get more complicated from there. Everybody's going to tell you their son went to a great film school and is now shooting, and he's got a short or a feature in Cannes, and you can't compete with that. You don't have to. Worst case scenario is you're going to get stuff for your reel. Next best case is you're going to go to festivals, or you're going to show people what's going on.
Or you're just going to get experience.
And you are going to get experience. I had something else to say. Oh, yes. All right. So first you find a voice. Then you find a tribe. Then you get yourself set up with SAG. And then you get yourself set up with the state. And then you go get equipment. And the equipment can be as simply as your cell phone. It could be your DSLR. What is DSLR? Oh, a digital single reflex or something like that. It's a camera.
Lens. Yeah, it's just a regular, old.
Digital
No, not even a video camera. It looks like a regular.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to know what it stands for.
You can just use it. It's really a camera that's it's a kind of almost a point and shoot that you can change the lenses on. That's really. iPhone you can start with. An iPhone's great. And if you don't have somebody to hold it, then pick up a $10 tripod off of Amazon, or go to Sammy's Camera, or, Target has them. Pick up a little bitty tripod. You can get a bigger tripod for $15, This is the kind of thing that you want to do. And you're going to start to gather things. Ideally, you want good sound, so you eventually want to get a microphone. But even when you're just doing your iPhone, you don't need sound right away.
And that brings us a really good point. Film, I know this is so simple and stupid to say, but film is a visual method. Show, don't tell. You don't need, so the sound becomes very important because bad sound is horrible, but don't write a scene that should be done on stage. Show it. That's really important to say because otherwise you just end up listening to talking heads and everybody tries to write the best dialogue, and then you're waiting for the best dialogue to come along. The biggest problem I find with everybody in this is that they're waiting for something perfect to be ready, the script to be perfect, the dialogue to be perfect, and it's never gonna be perfect. There's always things. I'm sure every single person that's ever made a movie in their entire life, at the end of it says, oh, but I should have changed that. I should have done this. You've got all that shouldas. So you really want to not do that. Just do it. And then you'll learn what went right and what went wrong. And then you do it again. And what went right, what went wrong, So ideally, I would love to say to you guys, go home tonight. Go home tonight. But well, unless you don't want to, and that's another whole issue. But go home, and then tomorrow morning, make a video. Just make a really short little movie, and send it to us. And I'll give you our website or our email, and send it to us. That's a lot of movies we're gonna have to watch tomorrow.
That's okay.
I got screens.
I don't have. I know. We were through almost all of those.
No, do that.
Because I want to see what you can do. I want to see. I'm not going to judge you on what you did. I want to see that you did it.
How many people just thought right now, oh, wait a minute. She's a casting director. Wait, I don't want to send her anything bad. I don't care.
I don't care. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at you getting over your fear of doing it and doing it. That's really what I'm talking to you as a teacher now, not as a casting director, please. That's really one of the most important things is don't try to impress me. Try to have fun for yourself. I want you to do it. I want you to enjoy it. I don't care about your acting. I'm not looking at that. And I'm not looking at the quality or the sound quality or anything. I'm just looking for the fact that you got a story. Yes.
So it's important to know that just about everything we've shot, except for one at the beach, where we had to get a permit, has been in our classroom.
We just paint it, do it.
Put different things there. Put things on the wall.
A couple people's houses. Joyce's we shot in her house. Mm-hmm. And our classroom.
It doesn't. So if you're going to Trader Joe's and your dog, you could use your dog. Dogs are unpredictable, having acted with a few of them. So just make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. You are the thing we watch. There's an entire structure out there somehow got the idea that, oh, you're an actor, you're a dime a dozen. No, you're the thing the camera's pointed at. You're the reason that everybody's there. If they could do this without you, if the industry at large could do this without you, they would.
Yeah.
And they've tried. But the other thing
Didn't
is,
work that well.
they need you for this scene. They need you for this story. So don't underestimate your power of what you have to do. I know it seems like I'm being over dramatic, but I'm really passionate about this. I want you to just make something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not Citizen Kane. It's just you, right? I know. But I mean, you look at Citizen Kane, I look at A Star Is Born. I can't do that. So I might as well not make anything. And if I'm going to try to make it that good, then I have to think, but no, it's going to need a rewrite. It's going to need another rewrite. No, I got to reshoot. Skip it.
Yeah,
Do
you'll never
something.
get anything done when you start to question that. Just do it. Just put it out there and just do it.
I'm sorry. Don't raise nobody raise any hands, but how many people think of themselves as perfectionists? Don't do that. I said don't raise your hand. Perfectionism, in my experience, is a delay mechanism. I'll do it once everything is perfect. Nothing's perfect. Huh? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Progress.
Well, that's what we're all looking
Make
for.
a bad film, make a better film. Don't show anybody the bad film. Show them the rewrite or the next one or the next one.
Yeah, and sometimes a story that you think you're passionate about, you can't tell it very clearly. So that's when you need help from your friends. And so I go to my friends, my group here, and I say, can you help me with the writing on this? Can you help me with the dialogue on this? Do you have any great ideas of how the vision of this, what this looks like? But that's further down the line. Right now you've got a tribe, and you get this group of people, and it can be 2 people or it can be 20 people, but you've got a group of people that works together that are all working towards the same thing. And there's a whole group right here in this very room. And off in Dallas and Honolulu or wherever they are, everybody else is, by Texas, I'm a Texas gal, they say, that's what I want you to do. Get your groups together. Find your people that you can make progress with, and don't wait forever to find it. Before you leave here today, go, was that kind of interesting? Did you do that? And somebody will go, well, yeah, here's my number. Let's try. And that's how it works. You've got to put yourself out there. Okay. Real quick, also, what I want to talk about is one of the things that Chuck mentioned earlier was about the whole idea of aging out, which is just a huge, huge problem. Well, I am starting a whole movement. I have a friend who's doing a whole thing with a bunch of comedians that are all over 50 or maybe over 60, but they're all doing this women of a certain age, and they're doing this whole comedy tour, and they're doing great stuff with it. But my feeling is that we're not, and I want you guys to really think about this, is that I don't let anybody say we're aging out, because we aren't aging out, we're aging in. My feeling is really, we've got the experience, we've got the years behind us, we know the things. It was one of the things I deal with casting. It's like they'll hire this kid casting director, and that's great, but do they even know what the SAG contract looks like, what it says, what it means, any of that stuff? Do they know any of the rules about working with minors or, workers' comp or any of that kind of stuff? And that's one of the things that's our job, is to remember to tell people, remind people of our power as elders, so as of our business, that this is what we have to do. We have to take that control back and say, whoa, wait a minute. You need to learn from your elders. I'm back on the tribes, You need to learn from the people that have already been through this stuff. And we can tell you we may need help with some of the other stuff, which is why I say get knowledgeable about technology. But we need that, to take that power back, and to not accept, oh, we're aging out. I can't tell you how many times I hear that as actors. Oh, I'm getting too old. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. Stop with the excuses. This is not a time for excuses. You've got to live your life fully. And what you've got is a whole conveyor belt of people that are coming up the age line that are falling into our bucket. We are saying, this is what
growing demographic that grows constantly. Yeah, so you're 20. That's great. You're 23. Oh, you're getting old. Oh, you're 25. Okay. Eventually you're going to be 30, and eventually you're going to be 40, and eventually you're going to be my customers in film. You're going to be my audience. Everybody's going to get old. No one's getting younger. So
because this is when we get to write the stories about life. You know, not what we think life is going to be or what life was or should have been, maybe what was, but not what should have been. We get to write about what life really is and how we lived it and how what we learned from it and what we didn't learn from it, and all the importance of that. And to me, that's hugely important, to be able to take our group wisdom and say, we don't need to be silenced. This is a really important, I'm off on another tirade, but you know, this is part of what we do. And this is where I want you go to understand with your films, the way of telling your films. This is a huge story that you've got in there that a lot of other people that are, you know, famous on Instagram don't have that story.
They don't have the experience. We get a lot. It's funny. A lot of 20-year-olds, and I had a student who was just turned 18, and she was a beautiful singer, and she said, "I'm too old." I'm like, "What?" And then she began to explain to me the business. I'm like, no. You don't know the business. You haven't been around enough. You can't sing about. You can sing about a heartthrob. And having your, you know, when you're 16, but I don't know that you can sing about love and heartbreak and the triumphs and how long you know we've lived. As inspired as a 20-year-old director is, he doesn't have your legs. He doesn't have your experience. He's not going to use cliches. So, you know, onward.
So anyhow, we are going to come do a question and answer section in just a second. So if you have any questions, just write them down on your card real quick, and we can. We love Q&A, so ask away anything you want to hear or know about. But yes, go ahead. I heard you breathe.
Yeah, it was funny because what I wanted to say from the start is, yes, it's art. Yes, it's our work, but this is fun. I'm alive when I'm directing. I'm alive when I'm editing. I'm alive when I'm acting. This is fun, and you get to have fun with the people you respect, and you get to choose them. And then there's a whole different reason. You get to get together with your tribe and watch movies, watch the screeners, watch the AFI best 100 best comedies, best dramas, best whatever they got going, and learn why they're good. Study the films for filmmaking.
Yeah, and you don't need to have witty dialogue to make your movie. Again, we'll talk about that. You know, look at The Artist. Look at Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
You know,
I wish they would stop talking in that movie. Just yammering on and on.
You know, so really, that's what I mean. You don't have to do that. So again, your tribe, your voice, your equipment, which is very simple. Everybody's pretty much got a cell phone in here that does video. Now you've got your equipment. A tripod is a good thing. If you don't have a tripod, maybe you have a selfie stick from a few years back. That works as well. But you want to it's so simple. Once you start to get bigger, once you start to do more, and if you decide, I really like this. I like this creating content. I like being able to show my agent, look at what I have. Look at what I've got. Try to make it look as good as you can. Try to make it sound as good as you can. Try to make it a good story. Just keep getting better and better and better in trying to do it. And in teaching, in working with each other, you teach each other things. You know, somebody's better at one thing than the other. A really good person that's very organized and anal is really good at doing your digital image transfer.
You know what that is?
Oh.
Okay. So in the old days when people used to develop film and put that in a canister and they used to load film, that doesn't happen anymore. Well, now we shoot it. It goes onto a chip about yay big. And then it goes into a computer, and then all that footage with all those crazy numbers has got to be logged in for scene 1, take 1, camera A, and has to be put in the right folder, or you make your editor go crazy looking for it. So it all has to be organized. And so that's somebody who likes detail. But everybody should try to do that or sit next to somebody.
Yeah, you should try it once, and you will have a huge appreciation for anybody that does that job ever.
We use the Adobe Creative Suite, but there's Final Cut. There's a bunch of other things. There's iMovie. There's a lot of things you can get started with.
There's a lot of free stuff on the internet, and just type in, I need free video editing, and see what comes up. See what you find, you know, or I want to pay $30 a month for the Adobe Suite and learn how to use it. You can take classes in town if you've got, you know, great money. There's all sorts of classes all over town on how to do editing. We're in the perfect spot for that.
You can find it all on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's all on YouTube.
Everything on YouTube. And the software should also come with some tutorials. But again, don't make it complicated. Don't.
Yeah.
You know what? Go watch House on Haunted Hill. It's an old black and white one, House on Haunted Hill. Richard, yes, and Richard, who directed that? But the point is, he locks the camera down, and actors come close for the close-ups. They walk away as they recede into the background, and everything is just almost like a stage play. It can be that simple.
Yeah. You'll get discouraged if you try to make it too complicated at the beginning. Just keep it simple. As they say, keep it simple, stupid. You know, that old KISS thing. That's just really important because anything that's going to make you overwhelmed is the wrong way to go. Okay? So just keep it, I can do this. This part I can do. And you really can. And that's why I say, go make something, a beginning, middle, and end. It can be a minute long and send it to us because I want to see that you at least tried. Okay? And I'm happy to do that. You can do that? Yeah. Yes. What was that? Our email address. You want to do that real quick? It's I'll give you mine. It's Megan Marra, Marra, at me.com. And that was because Apple for about 3 months only had that as their email address, and that's when I got it, unfortunately. MEGAN. Yeah, no H. MEGAN MARRA at me.com.
Is it case sensitive?
It's not case sensitive.
Nope.
But it's mine. I always do it all lowercase, but I think it comes through either way.
What we're hoping to get here, because you can then get a rig to put a microphone on, or you can get a lavalier to hook to your cell phone.
Right to your phone. That's what we use for our lavs when we're shooting with people.
Yeah.
We just have what did our Rode cost, like $50 or $60?
Yeah.
It's a little Rode microphone that sits in people's clothing. We attach it, and then it attaches to their cell phone and their thing, and then they send us the sound. That's it. Sound's done. Really easy. Yeah.
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 So
you want to say that again? It's a little lavalier.
It's called a smart lav.
It's a smart lav. You can get all different kinds. The kind we use is a Rode, RODE, and it has an Apple app on it. And we use it. We put it on our clothes. We run the wires down people's backs and into their, back pockets,
Sounds great.
or wherever. And it goes and they record it right on their phone, and then they send us those files, which is just an email. You can just send us those files, and it's done. And you've got great sound. Yes.
The wire goes into
Into your cell phone.
but what if you're taking a picture with your cell phone?
Well,
Then you need a second cell phone. Yes.
Oh.
So, but if you guys say you guys are working together, you use yours to shoot and you use yours for the lavs.
and you can import the sound into even something like iMovie, and then you sync it up, and it's not that hard, right? And then you
Yeah.
have it, and it sounds pretty good, right? And it can get as complicated as you want it to get, and that's where it gets addicting. But if we can get you to get addicted to this, then everything is going to be different.
I believe also there is an app that you can get on your phone that doesn't even need the microphone, that you can just record it. I know, mind-blowing, right? You don't even need your phone. It records better than just like if you turned your phone on to record. It records better than that. And I believe that one of our DPs uses that every now and then and puts it just on the, like if there's a table scene, he just kind of hides it in the middle of the table there somewhere, and yeah. It's great, right? That makes it so, everything about this is so easy. That's how can I make a 15-minute film for $500? And that's including craft services, which is
Depending
usually
on how
that
well you
much,
want to eat.
And lunch, so I mean, that's including everything. And that's how we do it. My group, okay, and we're going to say, all right, we think this movie's going to cost us $500. So everybody's going to put in $75, and we're all going to get a film out of that. Is that worth it to you? Yeah,
Done.
That's how we work.
So I was at this
how we
seminar
work.
at this film festival years ago, and somebody stood up and said to a DP, "Well, what about what do you think about DSLRs?" And he said, "It's fine for my kid's birthday, but I'm not going to shoot a film on it. You need he needed the latest red with 4K thing, and he talks about the thousands of dollars of lights that he needed and the rest of it. I'm like, nobody's going to try to do anything. You're not going to make first step if you need to do that. You don't have
You don't
to.
need it. You just simply don't need it. People,
You're not going to project it. Well, I thought the screen was going to be bigger. You didn't have to. You're not going to project it on a big movie screen. You're going to project it on a computer or something this big. That's what it's meant for.
And short content is huge right now. Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman just are putting together their company called, I think it's called New Media or New TV. What is it, New TV? Quibi? It had a different name before. Absolutely?
Okay, good.
Okay.
There you go. Quibi.
Okay.
Well, there.
Huh? Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman. Last time I saw it, it was called New TV, but now it's called Quibi, I guess.
Or the Wonder Company.
Or the Wonder Company.
But you get the idea,
but
it's
their whole
expanding.
business is about making content, making short content. That's it. They're going to Sony and Disney and DreamWorks and all the places to make short content because people are going to be watching stuff on their telephones, and that's where they're going to be watching it. Where a lot of people are already watching all their stuff on their telephones.
So think about this real quick. Real quick. Ready? I'm going to point to somebody in 10 seconds from now and say, what are you going to shoot tomorrow morning? Ready? Think. Close your eyes. Think. That's about 10. What about you? Yeah.
I'm going to shoot myself getting up.
Perfect. That's all you need to do. That's your first film.
Oh, she said that she's going to film herself getting up, making coffee, and feeding her cats. That's what she's going to film. And we'll see that tomorrow afternoon or the next day. You know, play around with the iMovie or whatever, if whatever you're going to try, if you want to try to edit it together, or just send us that. You know, don't send us all the different takes, but this is the take one I like, this is the take two I like, this is the take three I liked, okay? I mean, you guys you're having to do self-tapes at home anyhow. So you already need to be knowing about lighting and God's light. Anything out of a window is the best light you can get. Diffused, yeah. And sound. I mean, you're having to do that already for self-tapes. That's unfortunately, but that's another whole story. But that's really what you're going to do. What are you going to do? Your Monkey Man song. Great. I can't wait to see that. What about in the back? Anybody way in the back? Yes. Talking about the new great grandbaby that's on the way. That's terrific. Good. Anybody else? Oh.
What?
Oh, getting a lift ride. There's lots of good stories with getting a lift ride. Yes. Yeah. 11 dot winged angel collection. How cool, because I would like to know what that is. I don't know what that is. And I, personally, I'm a documentary person. That's what I really like to see. Think about what you want to do. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking. It doesn't have to be the most, important thing known to all of us. It's just something. Get it done. Get it done. Get it done. It's so much fun when you do it. You're so proud of it. Even if it is bad, it doesn't matter. You get to learn from that. Okay, so have fun. My goal, I say it all the time. Have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun.
It's true.
Because if you're not having fun, neither are we.
Right. If you're not going to have fun, then go get a job that makes a lot of money and hate your life and hates going to work. Right? It doesn't make any sense. So I almost leave you with this idea. Ray Bradbury said you know who Ray Bradbury is, right? I love him. He is quoted by saying he would only write when he got inspired. Luckily, fortunately, he says, he got inspired every day at 9 o'clock. So you sit down and you make. Has anybody seen Looking for Richard? Find it and go and watch it. It's Al Pacino's all his life study of Richard III. This thing will keep going until he's no longer with us. It's not perfect. It's brilliant. It's honest. And so just do the thing you came here to do. You have not just our permission, you have our encouragement. We're telling you to do it. And if you want a self-serving reason, the more you do this, the better you are, the more chops you have, the more no one wants to go non-union, the more they hire us to find you, and I have a better life. So do it for me. That's all. Come on, feel some compassion.
With passion, with passion, with passion. Good. Okay. Get more information. Enjoy it.
Hope this was helpful.
Thank you guys very much.